Hello everyone and welcome to another brand new video in my channel. So today in this video I'll be majorly talking about all the books which I had followed in my first year and all the books which you can also read in your first year so that you can grab the most by reading only the required portions grossly. But I won't be talking about too many books in this video. I will only talk about the required ones so that you don't get puzzled right in the beginning of your session. So yeah, without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. So I hope you know it by this time that in your first year you have three major subjects: anatomy, physiology and biochemistry. In anatomy you have general anatomy, gross anatomy, embryology, histology and radiology. In physiology you have physiology practical and theory parts, and in biochem you also have the same practical and theory parts. So first, coming to anatomy, I think anatomy is the vastest subject in your first year of MBBS, and it is indeed so difficult to memorize everything in your exams right after reading everything. But two major books which are popular wide across the country, which mainly help us in anatomy during our exams as well as throughout during our sessions, are number one, which is BD Chaurasia. I am having right now, this is volume 1 of BD Chaurasia, which contains upper limb and thorax, and number 2 is this book, that is Vishram Singh. This is the volume 3 of Vishram Singh that contains head and neck and brain. So I personally use Vishram Singh more than BDC, but topic wise I think the preference changes, and there are some topics which I like more of BDC than that of Vishram Singh, and other topics which I find more preferable to read from Vishram Singh than that of BDC. So likewise I think the preference differs for each and every person, and when you'll be reading these books I think you'll also get to know about these things and you can read according to this. But I personally think that if one can digest everything which is written over these books, then it is indeed more than enough for first year. So these two major books were mainly for gross anatomy, as well as I read general anatomy from the Vishram Singh only. But apart from these, one of the major books which is majorly suggested by all the professors of WBUHS, as well as which I use sometimes during my course, is AK Datta. So in AKD everything is given in a much detailed version, and it is really time consuming to read AKD and consume everything which is written over it. But certain topics I feel like general anatomy maybe, or certain osteology topics like those of skull bones, they are given in a much detailed version in AKD. So I read some few topics from that book also during my first year. But apart from all these books, the gold standard book, as we all know, is Gray's Anatomy. Students' version of Gray's Anatomy is easier to read for the students. Like if you really want to indulge in the subject, if you want to know more about the subject, or maybe you want to pursue your post-graduation in the subject, basically if you want to build and rebuild your knowledge in anatomy beyond the scope of just university exams, you can really go for it. It's amazing. Okay, so the very next portion is embryology. Embryology mainly deals with the developmental aspects of any tissue, any organ or any organ system. So let me give you an example to illustrate this. For example, you are reading about kidneys and you have read everything about the gross anatomy, like the parts of the kidneys, the poles, the surfaces, borders, everything, and you have read about the relationship of structures. You have even read about the structures related to the kidneys, maybe the microstructure also, but you haven't read about the embryology. So this won't help you fetch enough marks in your exam, because in your exam the question will be given in the format that you will be given a disease of the kidney and you will be asked to diagnose the disease, and the very next portion will be to illustrate the developmental aspect of kidneys. So embryology is mainly divided into two groups. Number one is general embryology and number two is systemic embryology. And I think for all these two parts, the only important book is Inderbir Singh's Human Embryology. The best part of it is the way of narration. It is mainly through pictorial representation, and these pictures can be very well remembered and written in your exams. As you all know that in anatomy, just reading and writing is not enough. You need to draw diagrams of everything that you write. So for this, Inderbir Singh really helps in writing embryology answers in your exams, as well as it is sufficient enough to know everything about embryology. Okay, so the next topic is histology. So histology is basically dealing with the tissues and organs in their microscopic world, and histology is a subject which is majorly dealt in your practical exams, but some of it may come as theoretical portions also in your theory exams, like as short notes or as any other question. And the major book which I would recommend for histology is also Inderbir Singh's Histology, because that book is equally good as that of the embryology book. But one problem which I feel with Inderbir Singh is there are multiple pictures of a single histological structure and it is not very easily remembered. So for that you can use your histology practical file, which will be given to you by your college, because it contains the histological diagrams of all the structures. So you can practice the structure or practice the diagram from that book, and then you can read about the theoretical aspects of histology from IBC. This would be enough for histology. So this concludes our first subject, anatomy. As I have already said that anatomy is really vast, and so you need to go for very different books as well as very different other resources other than books to complete your knowledge, to complete your study of anatomy in your first year. Now moving on to our second subject, which is physiology. Physiology basically deals with the functioning of our body, functioning of various systems of our body, regarding how do they work, what are the mechanisms which lie deep underneath the proper and well coordinated functioning of our body. And physiology is again divided into a theory portion and a practical portion. For physiology theory purpose, the book which is only and only used by all the students of West Bengal who read under WBUHS is this book, the book written by Dr. Debashish Pramani. So this book is like a mantra, because every question, may it be of your semester exam, may it be of your prof exam, will be only framed from this book. And initially when you start reading this book, you may feel that there's no much content given in this book and this has really covered less. But whenever you'll be moving towards more complicated topics like CNS, CVS, then only you can understand that how much has the book covered and how much bulk is contained in this book. But apart from this, there are always gold standard books for any subject, and for physiology the gold standard books are Guyton and Ganang. These books are really good for physiology if anyone wants to know physiology in depth, if anyone wants to pursue higher education in physiology, you can really go and read these books. These books are obviously good. And for practical purpose, there is another book which comes with the DP theory book. It is called as the DP practical manual, and in that book all the practicals are very well written, and they are written in a way to understand and make the students understand it easier. So that book is more than enough for practical purpose, and this again concludes our second subject, which is physiology. Now coming to our last subject, which is biochemistry. So biochemistry was personally very interesting to me because it is a combination of biology and chemistry. In biochemistry, you will learn about the chemistry of certain important substances in our body, like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, lipids, their metabolism cycles. You will also read about molecular biology, xenobiotics, cancer, and many more things. First book which comes in biochemistry is Vasudevan. It is this book. So Vasudevan is a really good book, and it is an important book because all the topics are given well in Vasudevan. They are given in a slightly expanded version, but it's okay. But one problem which I feel with Vasudevan is that it is not constitutive. Like the topics are scattered, they are not arranged properly, and so it makes it difficult to understand and trace the important topics from it. And for that you need to read another book before reading Vasudevan, and for me that book was Pankaj Nayak. Pankaj Nayak is another good book which contains all the important topics in a details which is required for that of the exams, and it also has a point-wise approach. So for that I really liked the book Pankaj Nayak and I read it. But one drawback which is there in Pankaj Nayak also is that it doesn't contain all the topics. So all other topics which are not contained in Pankaj Nayak, you need to read it from other books, like as I have already mentioned, Vasudevan. And another very popular book, which is not a book but a collection of notes, is mainly called as Dr. Jambulkar sir's notes, and those notes are really good. They contain everything. They contain all the topics, important topics which are written for your exams, but I won't completely recommend you to trust blindly on those notes without reading your books. Those notes are really good, I repeat, but one should always read books before reading any notes. At first you complete reading your book, then you can just go and revise from those notes, or before your exams also you can revise from your notes, that's okay. But do not completely forget your books and only entrust on those notes. And apart from these, the gold standard books for biochemistry are Lippincott and Harper. So if anyone wants to read the subjects or the topics in great details, you can just go and read these books. These are amazing. And this concludes our last subject, which is biochemistry. But as I have already told that for MBBS books aren't enough, there are a host of other resources which are also required for getting a good hold of everything of all the 3 subjects in your first year of MBBS. And if anyone of you want me to make a video on those resources, you can comment that down in the comment box below. Additionally, if you want any other topics to be covered in my upcoming videos, you can also comment down that in your comment section. So this concludes my video too. I hope this video will be useful for all those students who are getting admission in medical colleges right now. Congratulations to all of you who have got colleges of your choices. And yeah, that's all about the video. Do like, comment and share the video, and subscribe the channel for more such content. See you in the very next video. Till then, bye bye.